it starts raining. And we
I
don't
will
want to
drop
be
you off
caught.
with it.
All right, the next question, the first of the last category. Did you know about Stageworks? And just think, before we started discussing this, or before someone approached you, did you know about Stageworks before you signed up for this focus group?
Yes.
Yes.
You did know about it. How did you know? How did you know about Stageworks? Because there's a sign right outside.
The elevator.
Oh, really?
The elevator posting of the thing at the concierge desk, little part of the concierge.
So when you moved here, you were aware,
Well, I didn't know about it until I moved here. Really.
and
They were here
what
before
happened,
Stageworks.
but
Yeah.
They advertise, they put little postcards by the concierge desk and in the elevators for when there's plays.
okay. All right, anybody else? Just talk about your
And I saw
experience
it
of getting
last
to
year,
know.
it was actually before they moved, I was reading about their move to here from their other little place down here.
Yep.
And I was excited about the local theater, so.
You just get excited as soon as something starts happening.
Anything I really keep busy.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I understand that feeling. How did you guys?
We were actually walking into this building to go up to the workout room upstairs, and we saw it open, and we said, you know, everyone's in here working and preparing, and of course she immediately recognized it, and her eyes
Yeah.
lit up and said, let's go see.
I went in and went on, and what are you guys doing, and what's your play, what's going on, because I'm like, theater here?
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Have you tried out for any production?
well, you know, this was before I was hired full-time, so I was just adjuncting and had time on my hands, and Anna's asked me, send me your resume, and I just, you know, once I got my full-time job, that's
Yeah,
that.
it's hard.
Yeah. How about you, Sandra?
When I bought my unit, when I was, you know, going around and I was looking at all the condos in downtown Tampa, that was like when Smith and Associates, I dealt with Sam downstairs, or upstairs. He was like, and you know about Stageworks, so he completely
Oh, that's
promoted
good.
it.
Okay, so there is promotion of Stageworks as you are.
At least Sam
buying
did.
into-
Yeah, Sam was
All
great.
right, and Dave, Richards.
Well, you know, I also went through Smith Associates, and they did give us a tour of the building, and they just pointed to the sign as we walked by after we got off the elevator. You know, they said, well, we have a theater here too, and they performed plays, and then he went on and took us outside. But I think that if they had access to the theater, could open the door and give people a tour, that would be a bigger selling feature, because you actually see what the theater looks like, as opposed to just looking at the
There's a
word
theater
Stageworks. Because when you look at the sign, you really don't comprehend that it's a theater, because you don't understand what Stageworks really means.
I mean, the sign Stageworks on the door, or that sign outside?
Well, there's a sign outside, and
Right.
half of the nights it's not even on. Because I sit out there, I don't see the light on, but it's usually on when they're having a show. But other nights, you don't really look at it, and it doesn't really say theater anywhere.
That's a good point.
So, in fact, when I first moved here, I was talking with an employee in the theater named Jerry, and I said to him, Jerry, I said, we were standing outside the elevator, I said, I'm gonna do something, I want you to stand right here. And the next two people that got off the elevator, I said to them, what does the Stageworks mean? I just moved here, what is it? And they said, we don't know. And I said, how long have you lived here? And they said, 9 months. So then I waited for the next people to come off, and I said, what does this mean? And they said, we don't know. And I said, well, how long have you lived here? And they said, a month. So I said, well, didn't they tell you that when you were purchasing your unit? And they said, no, we didn't know about it. We still don't know what it is. We thought it was a dance studio.
Yeah.
So I think there's a perception problem that people don't see it as a theater. So maybe if they had tours, monthly tours, or they had the sales office let people come in and see the theater, or even put the word theater in the lobby there under the word Stageworks, I mean, you would know that it's actually a theater.
So
Or
the
a
word
kiosk,
by
a
itself.
kiosk in the
Right, or like a
ordinary
marquee.
there with all the posters that are in the lobby of the theater
Yes.
and information about upcoming shows. At least all those people going to those food truck things, you see that there's something happening.
And that's another good point.
But it
So
is-
something as simple as adding
Theater.
theater under Stageworks
Right.
helps people to associate it more so.
Yes.
So there's a local communication thing there.
Right. I think that people walk by it every day and they're just blind to it, you know, because they don't know what's going on in there. They see people going in and out, but there's, you know, there's no marquee, there's no,
There's no front door.
So you sound a little frustrated about the lack of awareness, even though there's a sign out there, the sign's not doing the job.
I think it'd be great, like even if they put like the little like you know, like on Broadway, you know, it's like the bees have got like outside, it's like all like these
Light
bright little
bulbs.
white lights. Have it like Stageworks theater, you know, like where you can really like,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, and it's like when there's a show going on, have it like twinkle or something, like bring your attention. Because I think a lot of people, they don't, and I agree with you, people don't even, like I've had so many people like come by and like, where's Stageworks at? What is Stageworks, you know?
Right, I called
Yeah.
Linda from out front to figure out how to get in, even though I've come here 4 times.
Yeah.
another
Several of those
problem
times
is-
we're in the car, seat in the garage.
Another problem is the sign is in the middle of the courtyard above the concierge desk door and not on the street. So people drive by every day and they don't even see the sign because it's in the middle of the
Yes.
courtyard.
Right. Okay.
When it was first being built and I saw that like it said, Stageworks coming soon, I seriously didn't know it was a theater. I thought maybe it was, remember I talked to Darren, I said, is it some kind of company that stages your apartments for sale? Like, because I'm thinking like what's gonna fit
Could be a
into it?
restaurant.
Yeah, I had no idea. And then that heightened my excitement when I did find out it was a theater when we were
Right.
walking to the thing.
But you had to take sort of the extra step, and you being in the industry couldn't tell what was going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what is your view of Stageworks? I mean, now that you've heard of it, what's your view? Do you have a view? Do you have an opinion about Stageworks? What's your view?
Every production I've seen, I've been impressed with, and I think the people do a great job. And so I think they've got a good product. I would like to see probably a little more different material in the mix, but what I have seen has been good.
Okay. Anybody else?
Not having been to a production, I always kind of thought it was more like a community theater with just, I don't know if the actors are paid or not, but it just seemed to me like kind of volunteers, like there wasn't really an audition process. But I've never been to a show, but that's just kind of where it is and I guess how it's advertised, that it just like, the only way we find out about it is a posting in the elevator. Kind of seemed to me like it was just, you know, a low budget kind of volunteer thing rather than, you know, then we started seeing what plays they're making. You know, they're making good plays with, you know, names that we recognize,
Yeah,
which steps it up to me a notch.
Now that's an interesting point that you make, and I guess I want to open that up to everyone. How do you see it, community or professional? Do you see it as a community theater, or you kind of think it is, you're not sure? Or do you,
It appears to me it's half and half, because I know they've had professional actors and
right, I
actresses
mean,
and all that.
people are being paid.
So we know that.
Okay.
But at the same token, it has a sort of donation, community theater, volunteer donation type orientation as well.
Okay, so,
Unlike, say, Strats, which also has volunteers sitting at the door and so whatever, but
right,
you gathered that as a more professional operation.
okay, and that's a good comparison. Think about the Strats, think about your understanding of Stageworks, professional, community. I'd like everybody's opinion on that.
Well, it's my understanding that they're not equity actors, so they're not paid on the same scale as Stratus. So, not that that reflects the quality, but I think that, you know, there is a difference.
But it's not like
Okay,
kids
are
that
they
drama.
non-equity actors?
They,
There's a mix.
Some. Okay,
we
'cause
try to
I
have
was
at
thinking-
least one equity actor per can increase our revenues, then, I mean, ideally, we would love to pay everybody, or, you know, use equity actors and pay them that rate. But we do have at least one equity actor per,
Listen, having been an actor, I know that being able to do non-equity shows is sometimes a boon for an actor. A lot of actors, when they get into equity, have problems
Right.
because they want to go out and do a non-equity show, and then you got to get permission, go jump through all these hoops. So sometimes you're getting a great quality with,
Yeah.
with non-equity, you know.
and we, I mean, not that this matters, but we have 99 seats in our theater. If you have more than 99, then you have to pay equity as a professional theater company. So at least it gives us the option to not do that, but it is our goal to always have at least one equity.
Okay,
There's one other point, I don't know if people know this, but the developers of this building donated that space, and they donate on an annual basis, I believe, as well.
Well, no, they did donate the space, which was amazing. I mean, we wouldn't be there if they hadn't. But it cost us $1 million to finish it out. So, you know, it wasn't like we got this building.
And it was part of a City of Tampa, I believe, program to promote the arts downtown. So they were also getting a benefit from donating, I believe.
Yes.
It's like there was a tax
I mean,
benefit.
not that they had this thing, I don't know if they still do, but when you build something, you have to pay a certain percentage to the arts. Like, I don't know if it was 1% or whatever. And so, and sometimes that's why you see some big public arts things.
yeah.
But that's the way that they chose to do it, is to give us that space. So.
Okay, a question, how would you like to hear about events at Stageworks? I mean, there's a sign, and there are the postcards that I even saw in the lobby, and I think there are posters posted. How would you like to hear about the various plays?
Well, if you're on their mailing list, you also get a postcard in the mail, in addition to postcards
Yeah.
left in the lobby and in the elevator. And I also get email notifications.
So you do get email.
How do you get on that?
Well, if you buy a ticket, you know, and you use a credit card, they usually take down your email address and your
Because I
other
think I've
information.
been to a show, but I never had a chance to sign up.
Well,
Yeah, just saying.
you know, then that's a missed opportunity that they should be taking that
Yeah.
information
But
down.
I'm curious if, and I'll have to ask you, Linda, is there an opportunity, if you're not buying a ticket, to sign up to be on the mailing list?
You mean
Or do
within
you have to buy it on the website, I'm sorry?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, when you're on the website, there's something on all the sites that says that you can sign up for our mailing list.
Okay. So
And they
that's-
also have a Facebook page as well.
Okay.
That's not going to help the people who don't know.
right?
That's right.
But I mean, as far as promoting it, you can get an invitation from Facebook.
Yeah.
And they're also the downtown partnership and Monday morning information sent out, all has that on it. And
Many people who are
Not all
who are
people are on that,
into
but-
the arts are not sitting on Facebook. I'm,
Well,
I'm not on Facebook at all.
I'm not on
don't even
Facebook
have
at all
one, so-
either, and I'm young enough to be.
Well, I'm like on Facebook like probably 80 times a day, and the Facebook page is not kept up for Stageworks. You know, and I think like daily, like at least posts or something like that. You know, like have somebody like do the, you know, the tweets about stuff that's going on, and Facebook, and really keep it up. Like really be out there, like every single day, put something out there. You know, and like either, you know, like even like feature like one of the actors or actresses that's, you know, part of the next play, you know, things like that, you know, and like I don't like, you know, like even like advertising, like, you know, having like a section in like the creative loafing, you know, like all those kinds of like different social
Yeah.
magazines and stuff that, you know, that's out there.
Yeah.
I think that that would really be helpful and like really get like, part of like the downtown partnership and really like promote it, like really get it out there. Like go to like all of these corporate, companies around here, like these, law firms, and really get like the word out there.
Okay.
And offer, like tonight is, what law firm are you with?
It's a small sole proprietor.
Okay, Joe Blow Law Firm. So
But
That's what I was saying, it's fine, I'll make it up.
That's the name
So,
of it.
no, it's the name now. So he works for Joe Blow Law Firm, so you know what, so, go on to, onto whatever website, if it's the Facebook page or whatever, and be the first person to answer the question correctly, whatever, you get, or have a Joe Blow Law Firm night. On a Thursday night when it's slower, where you get a 20% discount, in your law firm, then, is going to be the featured law firm there, or whoever it is, or whatever corporation.
Okay, keep going.
You know.
These are
Yeah.
great
So-
ideas, and I know that.
Because that's
like
just-
weekday, daytime performances for summer camps or schools to do field trips. We used to do that when I was in middle school. We'd go to the opera
Yeah.
or whatever, and they
Okay.
could just buy a block of 20 tickets at whatever
Yeah.
price.
Yeah,
If you could arrange for a middle of the week daytime
I have
show.
what
There
is
are-
that program
there
they
are-
have that the Stageworks has with the kids?
Yeah, they
The
do.
summer
that.
camp.
That we had the.
But that's for them, for the kids to be actors, right? I'm talking about for the kids to be in
Yeah,
the
well,
audience.
then they bring the kids into the theater and all that.
Is this
That
the
they
summer
did,
outreach program, or are we talking about something else? Are
This
you
is
talking
something
about-
else. It's actually, at this point, it's sort of a, not actually, they're using the space, the camp was using the space last summer, because that was our first summer. But we weren't actually running it. But we have hopes to eventually have our own summer camp.
Even do simple things like, like I went to the Christmas play. Okay, so when Monologues comes out, because you're trying to promote, monologues, then have it as a trivia question about the Christmas play. And the first person to answer it correctly, you get a free ticket to the next play. Okay, so that's a really easy thing to do, okay? Because then you know that whoever it was, then went to that previous play, okay? And so then it kind of like helps to perpetuate it, and it ends up being like a really fun kind of, situation.
Yeah.
Or you buy 4 stage work tickets and you get a free glass of wine or, a beverage of your choice during intermission. Just simple things like that. It doesn't take a lot, but it really gets it. Exactly. That's exactly, because then you take this, stupid little $2 glass back home with you, and people love it. Like, oh my gosh,
I'm
that is
loving
the
it.
coolest little glass.
I'm
Yeah.
loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it
I
says
love that.
Stageworks on it, and it's on their mind.
Exactly right.
Some very
Absolutely.
creative
And have
sort
the
of-
actors, because you can go to, what is the Old Time Pottery out there in Brandon on 60. Okay, these glasses are 50 cents. So go out there and then have all of the actors decorate a glass or 2 glasses, whatever, okay, that is then like the premier glass for that play, okay, and advertise Stageworks, like on the stem or whatever, like on the base, and because then here I am, Miss Blaney Girl, I carry around my stupid little wine glass because I really like it, or have them like more like masculine for the guys or whatever, because I
Yeah.
mean, you don't have to just drink wine out of wine glass.
No, no, you don't, and that is a great
I have
idea.
a glass from
Excellent.
a play I did 20 years ago where one of the actors, we give each other gifts on opening night. One of the actors had drawn something on it, and I still have it with pens.
And
in
it's
it.
really memorable.
Of
It's
course,
really
I
a
have
special
my
thing.
playbills
Yeah.
around the house with,
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
and people do that for plays they love. You don't have to be an actor. You just have to be a
Exactly.
theater lover.
All right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You were saying something, Jackie, about children, and I know there is an outreach program for children.
Yes. It's not here in the theater.
Okay, it's not here.
We do some amazing programs, but one is within the juvenile justice system where we have a person that works with a group of kids that are incarcerated, that are teenagers, and they, over the course of 8 weeks, they create their own play. And and it's dealing with anger management issues. So they create a couple of skits where they are in some kind of situation where it devolves to a point where, you know, people start getting violent or whatever, and then she yells cut, and then they go back and start it again, but then they do it so it moves in a direction where they resolve the issue without in a peaceful manner. And it's quite amazing to see it, because you realize that these the one that I saw was guys, and you realize that this is probably the first time that anybody's paid attention to them for a positive reason, and they're being able to be creative. And also the guys that were sitting watching, what was really striking to me is that they're all sitting there in their chairs, and their body language is just like, why am I here, you know? And then when they start performing, it's just like they're all just sitting up and really into it. And, you know, it's probably something that they can all relate to as far as the actual situation. And I would love for us to be able to continue to do more with that. But,
Yeah. Did anybody here know about StageWorks outreach program, which Linda just described? Did you
Yeah, I
know
wrote
that
a
they
check
were
to them,
doing
that's
that
why I
type
couldn't
of
remember the name.
thing?
Got me at that Indian thing we did in
All
January.
right, so how do you feel about StageWorks now, even understanding that beyond putting on plays, they're also doing this kind of outreach? I mean, what is that?
I mean,
what does
I think
say?
that that's a great story that should be, you know, showcased in like local news and stuff. Like, I just don't think that the story is really being told. I mean, that's an amazing thing to be,
Well,
you
they
know,
have
to be done,
had,
really.
they have had it, you know,
Well,
profiled a little bit.
I'm going to try to tie in your glass. I'm so glad you brought that glass tonight.
Thank you.
And your question with what she's saying, and that maybe this glass idea
Yeah.
becomes one that even ties in your outreach program, that as people get glasses, there's a very specialness about that glass because
Yeah.
it connects to that program. And I think people like to give and have memorabilia that ties in even the social consciousness of whatever it is that you're doing. So
And even
I'm trying to tie.
like reach out to like USF, School of Medicine. Okay, like any of those, you know, places where you can go, like that's a captive audience, you know. I mean, any of those places, you know, go to the
Okay.
towers.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that this is low-hanging fruit that's not been picked.
yeah.
And you need entertainment, right? After a day of studying medicine.
I mean, you're not gonna fill up an audience just because for my school personally, just because we're studying all the time. But
Right.
like, if you go out to groups like that, I know they offer students.
Let's talk a little bit
discounts.
about, one of the problems I've had when I first came here, in fact, I missed the whole season because of the website and buying a ticket and the fact that you can't call it any time of the day. It's a certain set time.
Right, okay.
And you have all the flyers in here, certainly flyers in the towers. Probably every kind of group here in town has a little newsletter that goes out every week, email, put a little blurb in, and certainly we do it with other things down at the towers. So, but go to stageworks.com. It's not going to tell you whether there's any availability that night. You're going to have to wait till a certain time. You can't buy the tickets, and it says, yes, there's tickets available for tonight or tomorrow night or the next night. So I think we have a little problem on closing the sale once we get people. And today, unfortunately, people do not make a lot of decisions about what they're going to do until the last minute. I've given up doing big dinner parties because nobody wants to commit until the
Yeah.
day before.
Okay.
The hell with them. See if I cater them.
Are there postcards do you guys have postcards in your building, like at the concierge desk in the lobby?
Yeah, and I think they probably have StageWorks up there too. But I mean, for me, the big thing is that
The email.
the email everybody gets, and if there's something coming up on the weekend, and our people would be glad to put it in. They obviously do it here at the Grand Central. They put the things in the elevators. We got those things too, but you got to be able. Oh, gee, yeah, let's go see if we can go to the theater tonight. Sounds
Well,
good.
I talked to Linda about this. I don't take the elevator. My
Right.
parking is on the 8th
Yeah.
floor. I go in. We don't have a concierge
Yeah.
with.
But so you want
Well,
the
you have
email?
to check your mail every once in a while. They put it on the little thing by the mailbox.
So,
Oh, but I never look at those stuff.
Well, I looked at the notice and I saw monologues and I'm like, I can't relate to that. See you later. You know.
They
I don't
have,
know what else is going on. I
Does
want to know.
Grand
what
Central
else
have a
is.
newsletter, an email newsletter that they send out every week to?
The condo, Brent.
No, not that I know.
So Malvina, how do you want to get word about plays?
It's an email direct to the theater.
Well, I mean,
How
now
would
I'm
you
going
like
to go
to
on
get
the
it?
website and get the postcards.
There's also,
Okay.
Now that I
I get an email, I belong to it, it's like a Facebook page, but I think it's called Channel Site Social.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen
And
that.
I've received frequent, emails regarding events in Channel Site, and they've also had Stageworks there too. So,
I just-
one of the other issues is that, if you go to a play here and you look at the demographics, you have your standard theater people that are going to go to every play no
Yeah.
matter what, okay? But this younger generation, they're not real, they're sitting on their computer all night long. They're not going out and they're not socializing as much. So, I mean, yesterday I'm driving down North Boulevard and I'm going by UT and I see this UT dance or UT theater or whatever. And then there's theater groups right at UT. I mean, why aren't those young people coming over here to learn the craft?
Okay.
And then where you come to the group, it's the theater, and you don't really see as many young people as you'd think.
There needs to be an outreach more for the younger.
People. Because, this older generation is phasing out,
Right.
and no one's replacing them.
Okay.
Maybe bring
Does
the
anybody in the
UT
room have?
UT theater group over here for a little production one night or
Well,
That's an idea.
and when I studied theater at university, in my classes, it was mandatory that I go see a play. And it didn't necessarily have to be the play at that theater. In fact, it was better if I went to Toronto or somewhere else, saw another play, because then I felt my essay was at least unique and original, and I could maybe say something that the teacher hasn't heard, 50 times, or however many times. So if we could, if you could get, the theater instructors at UT to say, hey, look, this is going on here. Is this somehow relevant? Because I see these, and these have a lot to do with different stratas of society and different things that probably may be on the syllabus in terms of, what are we going to study? How important is this? How important is it to know it?
Okay.
And just for plain theater reviews, because one of the biggest things I remember our teacher said to us in first year was like, if you guys are studying theater, don't you want to go and see some? She was really, really surprised that we don't go out to theater as much as we do. This was 20 years ago, and I think it's still the same thing.
Yeah.
It's great to study theater and do the acting classes and be in your plays, but to actually go out and see professionals perform, it's too expensive, it's too this. Well, make it mandatory for a class. Go write a review on something. Hey, did you know down the street, the same street that your school is on, all you have to do is, walk down, it takes 20 minutes, and there's a theater right there, and they're showing a play on so-and-so topic. Write a review about it, That's
Yeah,
20% of your grade.
Yeah.
They'll do it.
Very good point that we should tap into UT's theater and really outreach.
And also
It's a good
do like,
program.
Yeah.
also do
It
some
does.
like co-promoting, like with different, like reach out to like Mosey, let's say, where, I'll pat your back, you pat mine kind of thing, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Well, I know that Stageworks does have corporate sponsors, and I think they've been very effective. Just in the courtyard here, they get their liquor from the poorhouse now. They have a relationship there. Bow Concepts on the Thursday of the grand opening of the last play lets Stageworks utilize their showroom and provide liquor and hors d'oeuvres prior to the show. And I was just getting my hair cut here at Paul Mitchell, and they said, well, we'd like to do that too. I mean, we're right here. I mean, we want exposure for our salon. If they want to use our space, we have a lot of space. We'd love to have people in our window so people drive by and see that people actually come in here. So, and I think they've, Bamboozle, which is over in the place, is a new restaurant. It's Vietnamese food. They're a corporate sponsor, and they provided the hors d'oeuvres for the dinner at Beau Concepts. And then Spain restaurant, they're sponsors. Leiden is a French restaurant. They provide sponsorship, and you get like a 20% discount if you eat on the night of the theater.
So developing partnerships.
So I think
local is
the Stageworks has done a pretty good job in developing that.
Yeah, but how do you find out about that?
Well, that's again, this is the problem that we're talking about, is exposure. You're not communicating with, there's no perception.
If you do go on the website, there's a link to a number of area restaurants that have different, like if you show your pass or whatever, your what do you call it? Your program after the theater, after you leave the theater, then you can get a free appetizer or 20% off. There's a whole bunch of deals with area restaurants, but it's on the website.
And of course, if you're on the email, I get the email from Stageworks, and it talks to me about what's upcoming, and then it has the link to support our sponsors and co-partners and the deals. So you need to get on. Everybody needs to be on there.
well, everybody in the room will be definitely going to be on the list.
This is kind of like the really dumbed down version, but for people who don't know much of anything about theater, I mean, even this flyer, it's wonderful, but if they just had some sort of internet movie database type quality, we could just list the genre, which one just at first glance, comedy, drama, that kind of thing. So just whatever I might be in the mood for,
Right.
Just without having to.
So it having to really try to figure out on your own, but if it says comedy, you gravitate toward that as opposed to trying to figure out what's comedy, what's
just
music.
buying into that sort of, that media gratification type culture that,
Yeah.
the internet provides. And
Okay.
it's just one of those little perks. It's just the glance on comedy music. Oh, okay, so I know what that was going to be sort of like.
Okay. Got a few words here I want to throw out at you that Stageworks uses in a lot of its marketing materials and in some of the plays that it shows. And I just want to get a feel from you how you feel about the word. First word, provocative. How do you feel about that when you hear it?
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Sexy, I want to see it.
Sexy, exciting, I want to see it, provocative.
Don't bring children.
Don't bring children, don't bring the kids. Okay? What
I
else?
think it's what they said about the David Hare play. Again, it's if you know theater, then I'm into the provocative plays. But again, for a conservative family, again, I'm trying to put myself.
For a conservative, what do you think? You're into it.
I don't want to be provoked. I don't need theater to provoke me. I'm there to be entertained.
That's the conservative
Yes.
saying that. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
Well, we're not. I'm just saying. I can say, don't provoke me. Provoke me.
Okay. And that's a.
I thought theater was entertainment.
Okay. Anybody else got some thoughts on that? 'Cause that's true. I mean, people.
I mean,
feel that way.
you're preaching to the converted almost here.
I know.
You know?
I know. I'm getting that feeling as I go around the room, but provocative. You want to go see a play that
Theater should be provided.
it should be? Okay. All right.
By contrast, the theaters in Key West, I mean, the one group that controlled it, all they wanted was the well-known things that they love. That's the conservative side.
Yeah.
Oh, this will please everybody.
Yeah,
That is
don't,
conservative.
yeah, don't
That's
push me
definitely
out of
not
my
provocative.
comfort zone.
But
Give me
provocative,
something that I
the color
wanna
museum
see,
is,
make-
provocative.
Provocative, very. So this group likes the word provocative.
Yeah.
And would you suggest a less provoking word, I guess I would say?
Is the idea to get the audience full of whoever, or to get it full of people who love theater? Because I think
Okay.
what Key West
good
is
question.
doing is like to get a packed house every night, is you want something that the majority, the popular vote is gonna vote for,
Okay.
rather than something that, a provocative play that a lot of people haven't heard of.
Except that you can get, the Color Museum, I think is a good example that they had. I mean, that was a certainly provocative production. It attracted more of the black community because of the subject matter, although it attracted me because it was a provocative theme and the write-up on it was very exciting. So I think you'll get a mix of audience, and you may not get that same audience at every production. I'm not going to go see monologues, that doesn't really interest me, but I'm sure it's an interesting production. If I really into theater, I'd go anywhere. But somebody else is going to. So,
And
Yeah, I think you have
Oh,
to, you have to
go
think,
ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no,
I'm
you
just
go ahead.
echoing what you said.
That's
It's-
fine.
You have to think about who you want in there, I think.
Which is
Word
a
on the
great-
masses. Like,
And that this is what I tell my writing students too. If you don't know who your audience is, then how are you gonna know what to say to get your audience to agree with you or persuade them or whatever?
but
So
with 99 seats, you really don't have to have something to reach a mass audience.
well, that's exactly
It's
it.
sort of generic.
That's exactly it. So
And
maybe
you can
provocative
have,
is
this
the right
month
word.
is
Okay.
provocative, next month is conservative, following month is avant-garde. I mean,
Exactly.
my cement is something that is probably not going to appeal to the 20-somethings because they probably didn't even get assigned in English classes. So
I've actually seen it about
it's
15
going
years
to,
ago.
you know, I'm going to probably, well, I won't be able to be at the Far East, but I would go to see it if I was here.
Well, if I use the word thought-provoking instead of provocative, am I speaking to two different audiences or what?
thought-provoking is like less of an exciting word. than provocative.
Okay, and that's.
As a
Serious
personal
drama.
opinion.
I like
I think
that.
provocative sounds more sexy than
Yeah.
thought-provoking.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
more like I'm
Yeah.
gonna sit here and I'm gonna
Okay.
actually ponder. Yeah.
No, you're right, and subconsciously, from what I see, again, I'm dealing with the crowd at HCC, but people don't want to think.
Don't provoke my thoughts.
Yeah, you know, that's not what I go to theater for. So maybe provocative, you're right, it's got more of that sexy, that kind of,
Okay.
take what you will from it.
Controversial.
Yeah, I
All right.
think
Banned in Boston.
ambiguity is the key.
All right, okay, what about edgy? Edgy, it's another
It's
word that's.
my word of avant-garde, it's the same.
Yeah.
Edgy
Okay.
avant-garde.
Yeah, the whole free fall sort of thing.
67 years ago, this is avant-garde. Now it's edgy.
Yeah.
Edgy, avant-garde is, okay. Controversial, controversial.
Close to provocative.
The words are all akin to each other, interchangeable.
Controversially, it's like a documentary.
Yeah. I honestly think it's
Controversial takes you to
more
more of
like
a
a news
documentary.
source and less like an entertainment source.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
more of a
it's-
negative connotation, I think.
Yeah, it's made-
Hair was controversial when it first came out.
Yeah, but if you described it to me as controversial, I'd probably be less likely to actively seek out seeing it if I didn't know what it was about. Just that word controversial, like you said, is more like a documentary. That's a perfect way to describe it.
Thought-provoking.
It's very
is,
thought-provoking.
In my mind, it's controversial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Okay,
And this idea that you're gonna tell me already that it's controversial, so I come in there with this mindset,
Expectation.
right,
with
so you're gonna have to pick a
expectation,
side.
that I'm gonna have to pick a side, yeah.
okay. Challenging,
Again,
Nobody wants to
challenging.
work it.
no one wants,
No.
no one wants to work.
That's
in a
associated with
theater.
schoolwork.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay you and you're gonna challenge me. I know, my students enough that they're like, I'm paying you. What, do you expect me to do my work? I said, I'm paying you. So, No one wants.
So we're not crazy about challenging. I want to, because you want to do what when you go into that theater?
Want to be
What is-
entertained.
You want to be entertained.
Yeah.
But you like the word provocative, but not so much challenging, or you don't want to be challenged, you don't want to be
You certainly can
overly
be
thought.
stimulated and
Right,
excited
provocative
about
means they're gonna
things.
make you, make your own thoughts come up rather than make you form new thoughts. Like challenge you to challenge your daily beliefs or your current belief system. Whereas provocative is more like, you already think it, we're just gonna bring it out of you.
Like, I would even, I would, and this is just me, I would even like something like disturbing, because then I'm like, okay, at least I know that something's gonna happen, you know? But challenging, no. You're asking me to think too much. You can piss me off.
You want to go for those extra 5 reps.
Yeah.
Challenge you. No gain.
Insensitivity.
Well, we certainly don't want to have insensitive works there.
Yeah, see, it's, again, I think it's a
Insulting.
negative. It's a negative word,
Yeah.
yeah, very
Okay,
insulting word.
you're,
Yeah.
you said that
Because
before.
I don't want to be like,
So
you know,
tell me about-
it is, it's like very insulting, like that word just, you know, if you're going to be insensitive to me, it's like, am I really going to want to talk to you? Do I really want to go there? I'm like, if you're going to be insensitive, you know, it's
Kind of-
just, I don't know.
Kind of implies
Sounds
intolerance.
discriminatory.
Yeah, exactly.
It is, yeah. I don't really care what you think or what you do. This is the way it is, and it is what it is, kind of thing. I
Of
don't.
course, the other side of that is brash and non-PC,
Yeah.
which is also probably insensitive and insulting, but
So the, and Linda, you can maybe help me on the thinking of the insensitivity word, is we're challenging insensitivities?
Yeah, that was, I
Is
think
that-
we were taking some words that are in our mission statement, instead of,
Okay.
part of our mission is to challenge, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Challenging the thresholds of insensitivity,
Okay.
I think is part of that phrase, so.
So it is negative, but the
We're
the-
trying
no,
to challenge.
challenging the
Trying to
threshold
implement
is
it.
Right, I was
something
gonna say.
totally different.
Yeah, see,
I was gonna
that's
say
a
the
statement, it's a
context.
good statement, but words
Yeah.
individually are, you know, they have a very different meaning.
Okay.
But it's still interesting to know how you were
Yeah.
stating, because if you were gonna donate money to Stageworks and you read all those words, you
I'd
might,
be less likely,
right.
Okay.
yeah.
I think something about boundary pushing, I don't know if there's a
Okay.
word for that, and I should know a word for that because I'm an English teacher, but
Boundary pushing?
yeah, something that is gonna tell me that I'm gonna get exposed to
On the
something.
edge, that's the
Yeah,
edgy.
yeah, that's the edgy.
Good word.
Yeah, I think that is, I think sums up what you're trying to say with the insensitivities without really offending people
Mm-hmm.
that much. Like, you know, outside of, and again, I go disturbing, but outside of your comfort zone, and I think edgy is probably the best.
Maybe
word.
something like trendy, thought-provoking, you know, versus more of the negative kind of connotation. You know, like it's trendy, it's more like, you know, things that are like today's kinds of issues, you know, versus, you know, insensitivities and things like that.
Okay, all right. You've already indicated whether or not you've attended a Stageworks performance. Do you know of anybody else, any of your friends, or do you know of people who have also attended performances?
Yeah, we drag several there.
You drag people there.
Right, the food and drink.
Okay.
I'm proud of these
You're
twenty
dragging
people.
people there as
Yes,
well, Dave.
yes.
Yes,
I'm the best advocate out
And hopefully
there.
yes, that's great. Do you know of any other local live theaters? Are you aware of any of the,
Straws,
Yeah,
Temple Rep
that's
Company.
Yeah.
which one? I
Temple
heard this
Rep Company.
Okay.
I know they did a show at Igor. I just went to see, what was it? Streetcar Named Desire.
I
Man,
know.
disturbing. I was like, but, and I know the play, but the way they did it, because you're sitting right there. But great, yes.
UT
Okay.
has a theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ebor,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Ebor,
Okay.
it's not only the students that come, they're actually, and I saw, I don't know, outside of the theater, I saw the guy who does the jazz piano for Woody Allen movies, David Hyman, or Dick Hyman, I'm sorry. His name is an oxymoron. His real name is Dick Hyman. Listen, he comes from another
Recognize that
generation.
right off the bat.
He did a 3-hour show. It was in conjunction with the radio station. It was basically a history of the jazz piano. He taught it to us and he played it for us, and then he played us a song at the end. As an HCC member, I got in for free. My mother had a senior's ticket. The whole thing cost $30. The Tampa Rep Company that we saw, we didn't have really, just because we were HCC members, but they were like $10 tickets. I mean, and these are all equity or close to, the same caliber of theater as Stageworks are. And so Ebor really has the community college there really gets people from outside of it, people who are touring the entire country.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these other theaters that you've gone to, how do they compare to Stageworks? Just briefly, how do they compare? Stageworks compares to, I heard you mention Free Fall.
Yeah, well,
How do they compare?
I think they had a bigger stage. I think there was more room to do a bigger production, where Stageworks is more like a smaller area.
Right.
And they also had a live band which was playing, which was sort of hidden to the side, but you saw part of it, and it just gave it more upbeat feeling, because you came out feeling excited, because you just weren't listening to sound effects or,
Okay. Yeah.
And I think the staging could be better in Stageworks. Monologues, they basically just had some slideshows in the background, and they had one piece of furniture on the stage and some chairs and a table, and it never changed through the whole